Squid Game, but as with any rumor, there are those who are brave or foolish enough to speak out. And soon, the story of the secret death game begins to take shape. According to what little information trickles out from the underground, the game is brutal and unforgiving. Participants are forced to compete against each other in a series of physical and mental challenges. And at the end of each round, the losers are eliminated in the cruelest of ways. Some say that the game is inspired by the Korean folk game called Squid Game, hence the name of the series. In this game, players try to land a token in a circle, like a giant dartboard, and those who miss are eliminated. But in the underground version of the game, the stakes are much higher. The elimination meant death. As the game progresses, the competition becomes more intense, and the challenges become more deadly, but the prize at the end of the game is worth the risk. According to the rumors, the winner of the game receives a massive sum of money, enough to set them up for life. And if they play their cards right, they might even gain some power and influence along the way. It's a dangerous game, but the lure of the prize money is too much for some people to resist. And soon the streets of South Korea are filled with flyers inviting people to participate in the game. The only catch, you must be in extreme debt. Those who answer the call are promised a chance at redemption, a way out of their financial hell. They're promised a game that will test their skills, their courage, and their determination. And at the end of it all, they could be walking away with millions of dollars in their pocket. But as they step into the game, they're about to learn that there are some things that money just can't buy, like the ability to stay alive. But what is the truth behind these rumors? Is there really a secret death game happening in the slums of South Korea? And if so, who are the VIPs and what do they want? We start our investigation by speaking to a former police officer who goes by the alias Detective K. He tells us that in 1988, there were a series of disappearances that the police were trying to cover up. He says that hundreds of people vanished without a trace, and there was no evidence left behind. He also tells us about a secret organization which was made up of the richest, known as the Committee, and most powerful people in South Korea. He believes that the Committee was behind the secret death game, but before he can tell us any more, he is threatened and we barely escape with our lives. Undeterred, we travel to a small village in the mountains of South Korea. Here we meet a woman who goes by the name Grandma Park. She tells us that she knew one of the victims of the secret death game, and that she saw him enter a van with several armed men. She says that the men were members of the committee and that they took her friend to an unknown location. She also tells us that the committee was led by a man known as the frontman, who was the mastermind behind the entire operation. In a moment of desperation, we reach out to a journalist who has been investigating the committee for years. But before we can tell him what we have found, he disappears. As it turns out, he was killed by the committee, and they have been silencing journalists who get too close to the truth for decades. We are now in grave danger, but we refuse to give up. We believe that the truth about the secret death game needs to be exposed, and we are willing to risk everything to do it. We publish our findings, and the world is shocked. The existence of the committee is revealed, and the world demands answers. Government launches an investigation, and the ringleaders of the committee are arrested. But the mastermind behind it all, the frontman, is still missing. Some say he is hiding in plain sight, living a life of luxury in Seoul. Others say he has fled the country and is living in exile. But here's the twist. The real frontman is still in South Korea, but he's not living a life of luxury. He's living in poverty in that same remote village where we met Grandma Park. He goes by the name Old Man Lay, and he's too ashamed and afraid to reveal his true identity. He spends his days begging and his nights sleeping on the streets, and no one knows who he really is. And that's the story of the real Squid Game, a deadly survival game played by the richest and most powerful people in South Korea, a game that resulted in the deaths of hundreds of people. But as we have seen, the truth is often stranger than fiction. And while the events of Squid Game may be fictional, the story of the real Squid Game is a reminder that some things are all too real. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and subscribe for more updates. Also, check out our other videos for more intense stories. See you next time.